But they came out at one time and this lady was my sister and brother-in-law. We went on a clear excuse. Guy, I said to my wife, this, but I need to do is to let you have this day on vacation for the last week. Out of the country. I said I can say that I got the place, but I haven't been able to get a hold of it. They got COVID and couldn't show.
Oh, no.
Quarantine.
All right, good evening, everybody. It is 7 p.m. Today is Tuesday, August 23rd. We'll go ahead and get started and open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, any changes to the agenda, Dr. Finch?
Actually, we do need to pull one item from the agenda. That's the approval of Instructional Materials Committee. There's some work that needs to be done on our procedures for that policy and the composition of the committee. And so we'll need to pull that at this time, and we'll come back at a later time with an update on the composition of the committee.
All right, thank you. Any other changes? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item 5, communications, response to public comment. Dr. Finch?
Yes, at our last meeting, 26, a community member asked why the school district no longer runs traffic safety education, or commonly known as driver's ed. And so the response is that schools began to phase out driver's ed in the 1990s when the state eliminated funding for the program. Driver's ed would be costly to fund with our local funds, as there are costs for purchase, maintenance, and periodic replacement of vehicles, as well as the cost for fuel, staffing, and insurance for student drivers. Educators had concerns about offering a course during the school year for a 0.5 credit, as the curriculum did not warrant a semester of study. As a result, even when there was state funding, many school districts ran summer programs for no academic credit. When the state eliminated funding, the schools eliminated their driver's ed programs. And that's the response to public comment.
All right, thank you, Dr. Finch. We'll move on to item 7, public comment on non-discussion agenda items.
I believe item 6 is next.
Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't that the one you pulled?
Nope, we pulled the Instructional Materials Committee.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's go on to item number 6 then.
All right, so we're very pleased to have Dr. Robert Peters here as a representative for AASA. AASA is the Superintendents Organization or Network for the country. It's the national organization. And Dr. Robert Peters is going to share this presentation about Lighthouse System for early. I appreciate Dr. Peters coming all the way from Dallas. He actually visited West Valley in the spring when we hosted a site visit by AASA. We had educators from across the nation came and visited classrooms and debriefed. We had Ellen Galinsky as a thought leader, a nationally known author, and appreciate some of our board members that were able to participate. And Dr. Peters was a part of that, and now he's back to visit West Valley. Really appreciate his willingness to present this morning for our back to school rally with staff, and then provide the presentation to the board this evening as part of our board meeting. So Dr. Peters, you can take it away.
Slide deck coming up, but I guess I can go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Robert Peters. I am so happy to be with you. This is my second opportunity to be in West Valley. I was at the AASA early learning cohort meeting months ago, had the opportunity to speak with the board member as well as teachers within the community. So when Peter asked me to come back, I said, hey, I'll be back as soon as I can to West Valley. I always really enjoy my time when I'm here. On this opportunity, I really want to talk with you about AASA and our work. I'm going to be starting our work with AASA. We have connections with about 14,000 school districts across the country. So we have 14,000 superintendents that are part of our organization. And within that organization, if we're thinking 14,000 school districts, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of campuses and millions of community members. And within that network, what we wanted to do was we really wanted to bring some of our top-notch districts together to work on a national commission that we called Learning 2025. As we begin to approach the year of 2025, the question is what is education going to look like? I mean, like, as we begin to kind of go through years and really evolve as really a educational entity in America. So we brought about 40 different educators from across the nation, East Coast, West Coast, to begin to talk about what are the things that children truly need as we begin to go from where we are present day to Learning 2025. The next slide kind of talks with you about some actual foundations that we actually brought in to Learning 2025 to really begin this work. With the districts, we recruited about 120 districts from across the nation to really begin to look at early learning was one piece. Building an instructional culture was another piece. Really looking at, what does engagement look like in the classroom? And out of those 120 districts really worked together and they said, listen, we want like lighthouses. You can go to the next slide as well. We really want lighthouses within the districts because we're working with approximately 150 million students and family and community members across the country. So we begin to look at a really intensive, really process of what does the best of the best look like. And when we're looking at the best of the best districts, we begin to say, one district is not the best of the best in everything, but there are categories of greatness. And we begin to look at categories like early learning. We begin to look at categories like building culture. And after about 50 applications, we were looking at just the progress that schools across the country had made. And I just wanted to say that West Valley School District is the one and only AASA Lighthouse in early learning. When we begin to look at the work that you are doing in your community, this is a model for so many different districts across the country. As a matter of fact, I've had the opportunity to have Dr. Finch present to many large urban school districts and small districts across the country. And when I told them I was coming out to West Valley, they said, well, hey, can we get Peter to come and talk with us about some great things that are going on in early learning? So on behalf of AASA, I just wanted to really congratulate you. I know that I have an actual, you don't mind if I walk over and present this to you? I have actual lighthouse. And only 13 school districts have received this lighthouse. Across the nation, we have representatives that are actually traveling to board meetings and to communities all across the country for those 13 school districts. Peter chose me to actually come out to congratulate you. So on behalf of AASA, I just want to let you all know that you all are doing amazing things and you are our one and only Lighthouse District. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to shake everybody.
All right, Robert. Whoops. Okay, Robert. Whoops, Robert. Robert, before you leave the stage. This morning at the back to school rally, we were able to give all of our staff a small token of our appreciation for the work they do every day and really unify us with a really nice T-shirt that Amy Forrest was able to work and Stephanie Smith and the rest of our crew put together a nice welcome back for our staff. So we have a T-shirt for Dr. Peters as well.
I'm going to definitely wear it. I'm going to wear my T-shirt. I love it. Yes. So when I get back home, I know my baby girl is going to be like, look at a Sally T-shirt. Thanks a bunch. I really do appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, very nice presentation and nice award. All right, we'll move on to item 7 now. Public comment on non-discussion agenda items. If we have a list, we do have 2 speakers. And again, a reminder, the board will not respond, but we will listen to everyone's comments. So we will start with. They want to speak. No, they don't. So, all right. Listen, no speakers. I take that back. Do we have anybody on Zoom that would like to participate? No Zoom participants. All right, we do not have any comments in public comment on non-agenda items. Moving on to item 8, approval of consent agenda. We have the minutes, approval of vouchers, financial reports, a whole host of other things. Is there anything in this list that anyone would like to pull out, or would we like to take the entire group? If so, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Thorner. We have a motion. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It carries 5-0. Moving on to item number 9, approval of travel requests. Again, the same comment. There are a number of travel requests listed. Is there anything
Just one.
anyone would like to pull out? Mr. Thorner?
No, there's just one travel request this evening.
Just on.
The policy readings, there's a
Policy
number.
reading, there is a policy. Okay, I'm going too fast.
I'll move to approve the one travel request presented under action item 9A1.
All right, thank you, Mr. Thorner. We'll go ahead and vote since we have a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Now we will move on to item 9B, approval of policy addition revisions and second reading.
Again, with our first reading, I shared that these were all model policies from the Washington State School Directors Association. And so we used that model language without changing any of that. And it passed with first reading, and we've made no changes since then. So this is second reading and using the WVSD model language.
Okay,
Hold on.
Having heard that, I'll move that we approve policy additions, revisions for second reading, 1400 through 6700.
all right, thank you, Mr. Meyer. We have a motion to approve the policy addition revision second reading. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right, approval of jumpstart credits.
This is annual approval that's needed for the ability of the district to offer an award credit for high school level work that's happening at our grades 7 and 8. And so I did review this with the counseling department at mid-level campus. They said there were no changes from the previous year. So this is exactly the same memo with updated date for this school year. And this allows us to award the high school credit for our high school level work at our grades 7 and 8. We do have students at the Innovation Center that are mixed with grades 7, 8, 9. And so there's not a need for this approval of Jumpstart credits for Innovation Center. I did include a copy of the state law. And so it's if the class is offered for grades 7 and 8 without having high school students in the class, then we do need board approval, and it does need to be annual approval. So that's why we brought it to you for approval tonight as we start the school year.
If I may, Dr. Trench, the Jumpstart, those students, that allows them or gives them the opportunity to take more electives once they get to the high school. Is that correct?
Yes, there's a lot of benefits for us approving this tonight. It allows students more room in their schedule to take more electives. And also it provides a little bit of a buffer in case a student has some difficulty at the high school and fails a class. With the 24 credit requirement for graduation, right now, if you take 6 classes, times 4 years, 24 credits. There's no room in the schedule for any misstep and to fail a class. So this does provide opportunity for students to get a jump start on their high school credits by having the high school level class in grades 7 and 8.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? If there are no comments, would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve jumpstart credits.
All right, we have a motion to approve Jumpstart credits. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Item D has been pulled or delayed this meeting. Next is letter to legislators. I was going to read that, Peter, so.
Yep, sounds good. So worked with our president of the board, Mark Strong. He asked us to craft some language here that we could send to our legislators here from the 14th Legislative District. And so Mr. Strong will share with the audience the draft of the letter here, and then there'll be an opportunity for discussion with the board.
All right, and so this letter is addressed to Honorable Curtis King, Honorable Gina Musbrucker, and Honorable Chris Corey, our representatives for our school district. So dear Senator King, Representative Musbrucker, and Representative Corey, the state legislature enacted an unfunded mandate with RCW 28A.642.080, transgender policy and procedure. If there were funding for implementation of this law, the West Valley School District would approve the remodel of public restrooms to single-use restrooms. We estimate that the remodel for the restrooms at the West Valley High School alone will cost approximately $2 million. We ask that you work to secure funding for the remodel of the restrooms for all of our schools in the West Valley School District. In addition, we ask that you ensure that any remodel of facilities to comply with RCW 28A.642.080 will not impact the modernization funding school schedule for our schools. And if you need more information, contact Dr. Finch. Short and simple, but to the point, and hopefully we will get a response. And it does require all of the school board members' signature. So at this point, is there any discussion, any questions by any of the school board members?
Great letter.
Thank you. Mr. Jager, anyone else?
Before we accept it, as the board packet came to me prior to the weekend was the first I had heard of any of this. And so I think I would like some time to digest this a little bit, to think about this, maybe have some discussion. I understand it. I think I just need to have more time.
Okay,
So I don't know if I would be inclined to sign it tonight, is what I'm saying.
okay. Anyone else?
No, just, I'd
That-
like to thank those that took the time and put in the extra work and effort to put this letter together, if you will, and appreciate that it addressed the concerns we heard not only from other board members up here, but from the community in the discussions that we had prior to this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Meyer. Anyone else?
I have no issue with giving Mr. Mokel the opportunity to think about the letter. I will sign the letter tonight. I'll sign it whenever. I'm ready to sign it whenever.
Okay, I've already signed it, so it's all ready for me, as far as my point of view.
And is this something that we have to sign at a board meeting or following a board meeting?
I think it probably can be signed anytime.
Okay. I would just like some more time to digest this information. And I do appreciate your efforts in pioneering this.
Thank you. Also, Dr. Finch helped with some of the language there, but if you recall, some time ago, I spoke to Representative Corey about probably doing something else and suggested that we do a letter, but in lieu of that letter, I decided to contact him directly. Not yet hearing from him on this, I thought I wouldn't wait and something going here. So, all right.
Where did we get the $2 million estimate?
We did work with the our contractor, and the 2 million allows for an inflation increase and a contingency. So he was comfortable saying that the 2 million would be an accurate number.
That is to put stalls in the boys' bathroom, or what is that for?
That would be to remodel the bathrooms. So there's 6 different sites of bathrooms here at the high school campus. So it would be all the 6 sites that are here. It would not include any remodel of the locker rooms. It would be just the bathroom sites that we have here at the high school.
Would be putting stalls.
Right, it would be changing them that we would have single-use stalls in all of the restrooms at the high school.
Anyone else?
I just think that it's important to highlight that that's one aspect is the funding aspect, but if we undertake this kind of a remodel, it does impact, it would impact our ability to seek state matching funds down the road when it comes time to do a full modernization or an update, rebuild of any school that funding would be made available. So I think it's important to note that it's not just the funding, but if let's say the funding didn't come through, but there was some relief in the law passed that if we were going to go out and fund it, however we were going to go about doing that, for example, here at the high school, it doesn't reset the clock on modernizing this building sometime down the road. I mean, obviously it'd be quite a ways down the road, but that's another vital part of the ask.
For your input. I will point out one kind of peripheral issue that's related to this. And I think I brought it up before, and it kind of gets by the wayside, but it is an important consideration. And I don't know what the legal ramifications might be, but that is the signage of the restrooms. How are they labeled in the future if we were to do this? And I just throw that out there as something that we need to think about. There might be some legal considerations. I'm not sure, but that's something that we would have to work out if we get to that point. So. All right. If there are no further comments on the letter itself, then we will open it up to public comment on discussion items. So if there's anybody who has any comments that they would like to present at this point, I open it up. All right. Yes, we have somebody on Zoom. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, can you hear me?
A reminder, if you're on mute, to unmute your device so we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Not yet.
Can you hear me?
Not loud enough. We hear something. Can you turn up the volume?
I don't know, that's her issue.
Can you hear me now?
Not very well. Okay, go ahead and try to speak. Maybe we can hear you if you can just try to speak as loudly as you can.
Is this better?
A little bit.
Okay. Are you guys going to be able to hear me or not?
I couldn't make you out very well.
Good idea. What is the technology?
That would be helpful. May work. Oh, let me turn my. Everyone can hear. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my microphone is up all the way. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. I raised my hand earlier to speak. This is probably a non-agenda item, but is it okay to go ahead and speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I have 2 children in the school district, and I wanted to thank Dr. Finch for posting the signs at the bathroom in the junior high that private restrooms are available to students since West Valley passed the gender inclusion policy. I wanted to know if this has been done at all schools because I believe it needs to be done at all schools. I would also like to know what we are doing to make students feel more comfortable when it comes to changing in physical education class. Are we able to offer private changing rooms to students who do not feel comfortable changing with the opposite sex when it comes to PE? I also think this new policy should be communicated to families since school starts tomorrow. This will be beneficial to the administration and board by eliminating complaints and misunderstanding by parents by communicating this policy to parents. No matter if you agree or not agree with this policy, I think we can all agree that children have all been taught to use the bathroom that corresponds to their biological sex. So giving parents an opportunity to prepare their children for this new policy is beneficial to the student and the administration. This policy passed at the end of the school year last year, and many parents are still not aware of this policy. I would suggest sending this policy home with all students in a paper form along with their syllabus in their homeroom class this first week of school. An email is great, but a lot of times they just go to junk and parents never see them. So doing both would be great. As a parent, I would prefer to find out by administration of this new policy than to have my child find out unexpectedly. I believe this is what transparency should look like. So I look forward to your response on the next board agenda that this has been done. Thank you.
Okay, can I ask if you can identify yourself, who you are? We appreciate the comment, so we'd like to know who we're speaking with.
This is Heather Harrison, and I have a student in junior high and at the high school.
I'm sorry, we didn't hear the name.
This is Heather Harrison, and I have a student at the junior high and the high school.
Thank you, Heather. All right, are there any more public comments, whether here or via Zoom? Seeing or hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on. That brings us to item number 12, items arising. Anyone? Dr. Finch, anything? Nope. All right, we'll move on to item 13, reports, travel log.
All right, so travel log is included as a written report for the board.
The discussion, questions on the travel log? If not, we'll go on to item 14, superintendent's report.
I appreciate the work that Stephanie Smith has done to review all of the district policies and to notify me of which policies are needed for annual review and report to the board. We did this in this report this month because we're starting the school year. And so many of those are annual reports that are good to have reported to the school board prior to the start of the school year. So appreciate the work of Stephanie Smith, our administrative assistant.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, that's superintendent's report, board reports, board development.
I'd just like to highlight employees of the school district. I know that August is a time when many of our employees are putting in their own time to get their classrooms ready, to get their schools ready. I've seen buses out driving routes. I know I heard one of the secretaries at one of the elementary schools was in on her own time on Saturdays and Sundays, prepping for for kindergartners coming in and testing. I went to twice this last weekend and on Sunday when I was there was 22 cars in the parking lot. So our teachers and support personnel and everybody is gearing up for this school year. And I just think that they need to be highlighted and thanked for the jobs that they're doing and the jobs that they're going to do when our kids come tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
That's
Mr.
well said.
Mokel.
That's well said. Thank you.
And I'd also like to tag on to that a little bit. I had the pleasure of attending my daughter's, two of my daughter's conferences this week, and just for preparing for school, and especially my high school student daughter. And I was just floored by the positive energy as I walked into the school. There was students there greeting you with pom-poms and a lot of positive comments from some of the staff, and just everything that was going on, a real positive, constructive tone to it. And so, again, I just want to echo again what Mr. Mokel was saying in a different way. Very, very nice to come back to that sort of environment, and I'm sure the students welcomed and appreciated that as well. So a big thank you to all the staff that participated, not only in today, but the opening of the school district again for the next school year. And with that, if there are no other comments, we get to wrap it up early tonight. We will adjourn. It is 7:30. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Anybody up here who would like to go ahead and sign, you can if you would like to. Okay.
Great.